What's up, guys? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Rhythm and Praise. And today I'm going to be talking about my Deluxe bass Big Muff. This is the fourth video in my Pedalboard series. And what I'm going to do is just quickly go over the controls, knobs, switches, all that kind of fun stuff. And explain where I have it in my pedal chain and why I do that. And just, give you a couple settings that I like to use, different ways I like to use it. And that's it. So let's just get into it. All right, so let me just zoom in here a bit so you can see a little better. So this is the Deluxe bass Big Muff by Electro-Harmonix. It is the answer to their very popular pedal, the regular bass Big Muff. And it has a couple different features. So the original bass Big Muff has the volume, tone, and sustain that Big Muff pedals are known for. However, this pedal is a little bit different. So the tone and sustain still do the same thing. The tone essentially changes it changes how much high end is in the fuzz tone. All the way to the left is low, all the way to the right is high. The sustain changes not only how much distortion or how much fuzz is in your tone, it also changes how long it rings out for. So you'll notice if you have it further to the right, it'll be more distorted, but it will also hang around a lot longer. So one thing on the original Big Muff that one place where you'd have some issues is that sometimes you would try to play things, but your finger noise would get picked up because the sustain and the distortion is very high and it's very gainy. So how they fix that is with the gate, which is right beside the sustain. You can see that. And the volume, one thing about the Big Muff that a lot of people loved and didn't love is that it had your clean bass tone underneath whatever fuzz tone was there. So the volume, instead of turning up only your fuzz tone, turns up the entire pedal's tone. So it's like a gain knob. And the blend allows you to control how much of your clean tone is in with your fuzz tone. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration of what it sounds like. This is with the bass off, with the pedal off. Let's make sure I got everything at detent here. Okay, yeah, so this is, right? That's just my normal volume, okay? This is with the pedal on. So this is with the pedal on now. You can see that it is, it does its job. For me, I really like that, especially if I'm going to use other types of pedals with it. Like I usually like to use an envelope filter and the octave with it. Now, I'm going to quickly show you what the gate does. I mean, like, it's pretty self-explanatory, but let's say I wanted to run, I'll run everything halfway. And we'll focus on the fuzz tone. Right? You can hear how the sound is lingering on. And if I want to play something fast, you can hear that the notes are very, you can hear all that, okay? Now with the fuzz with the gate just at half, my finger noise, you can't see me, but I'm rubbing my fingers across. Even when I'm rubbing them across very hard, there's barely any sound. So this comes in handy if you're looking to play very precise and you just want to cut out the string noise. I think the gate is designed to cut out your string noise, but the higher you have it up, the more it acts as an actual gate for your playing dynamics, which again comes in handy depending on if you want to play certain styles of music, you want to try and get some synth based stuff going, you can do that with this pedal. It's very nice that way. Now, as I said before, the blend, which is again, it's a new function on here right now. Before I had it where I really liked it for the tone that I like to get, but right now I have it fully on fuzz. If I turn it all the way to the left, it's now fully on clean. So when I'm playing now, shouldn't be any difference from my clean tone. And the added boost is, or bonus, is that I have the volume to be able to control how loud or soft that my bass is at now, right? But where this pedal shines is if I just want to add a little bit of fuzz and have mostly my bass tone, or the reverse, if I want to have mostly fuzz but have a little bit of low end on the bottom, right? Fuzz pedals tend to, this is on the negative of them, because they eat your, because of the way they work, they usually tend to take away the low end from your signal. So to put it back in, you're literally putting back in your bass signal, which is the entire signal, not just the low end, but it still works to have a little bit clearer notes that are being played. So if I was to just play pure fuzz, right, which is this, and I do maybe instead of halfway, 3/4 of the way up, so almost 9 or almost 3 o'clock. You can already hear there's more definition because my bass tone is in there as well, a little bit underneath. And just as much, if I want to add to my bass tone but not have too much change, when I go to 9 o'clock, let's say I'm playing and I want to add to the chorus, so, or now here it sounds good, but I would increase the volume to kind of get more of that tone I'm looking for. Right, so you have more of that. It's a clean tone with a little bit of something on top, the reverse of what I just did, and all of that's possible because of the blend knob. Now, the other thing you have as well is I'm using a ESP LTD B5E bass, which has soap bar pickups, ESP, EMG pickups, the X pickups actually, but it doesn't matter. Essentially, it's an active bass with active pickups, so they tend to be louder. This one isn't too bad in terms of its volume, so I can run it without any cut. But if you find your bass is too loud, whether it's passive or active, you can hit the 10 dB input gain cut by just flipping up that switch that's right underneath the gate. And it allows you to control those things. Now, one more thing about the pedal that I didn't mention yet is the crossover function. So right here, you can see that it's activated. and I'll show you how it works. Essentially, all the controls I just mentioned still are active in crossover mode. The only difference are the two knobs to the furthest right. The first one on top is a high pass filter that allows you to move the lowest note that's picked up by the fuzz sound alone. So it starts at 125 and it can go all the way up to, I believe, 1500. And essentially, you're controlling the fuzz sound itself. Underneath is only read by your clean tone, and you can control, it's a low pass filter, so the exact opposite. You can control what low end from your bass tone is actually in there. So just to show you, okay, I will turn it all the way to the right and then show you the fuzz sound, play around with the knob, and all the way to the left, same thing. Let me turn off the gate here, just so you can hear it. We got that low pass filter here. So as you could hear there, like I said, just a low pass filter. And what you can do with this is you can have exactly the same tone, but with only the low end, clean low end from your signal, and you take out the low end distorted signal. So it basically cleans up that tone. Instead of having two tones that are just added together, you can shape exactly how your tone sounds. And this is exactly why I got this pedal. Now, sometimes the difference is subtle, but when you are trying to add other pedals, the difference becomes much less subtle, because when you add different sounds on top of each other, if you have distorted low end in there, it makes it much worse, like a lot worse, and it more muddy, and it's harder to control. Same thing for your filter, let's say. If you send too much signal to it, it doesn't act the way that it should act. This allows it to have the right amount of signal, and still gets the sound that you'd like. So let me just demonstrate. So I'm going to do it at 50% here, okay? So I actually don't like that. I'm going to go closer to the clean here. Okay, so that is you can hear the difference, right? It's just clean low end. Whereas when I go back, it's like more of my signal it's fuzzier, but you can't hear the low end as much, right? So if I was to turn on my octave pedal here, the bass octave deluxe, and I show you the difference here, and I turn on the crossover now, right? So both have a place, but you can hear the octave more clearly when the low end is still intact, which is very key for a lot of sounds. So yeah, that is pretty much that. Now, in terms of a setting I like to use, I usually like to have it where I have the gate on. Sustain is almost at its lowest. The tone is at its lowest. And the blend is a little bit towards fuzz. So I'll do that now. And this is what it sounds like. So the reason why I like this tone is that no matter if I have it in crossover or regular, A, it still sounds like my bass. B, it's still like it's very clear. So there, the low end's intact. The other one, it wasn't as intact, but it still sounded pretty low, like a real, right? If I wanted to make it more growly, I just turn up the volume. Maybe the sustain a bit. Right? And the gate helps to control everything. Now, in crossover, there are a couple things I like. I sometimes like to, if I want to just get a guitar sound, I'll turn it the blend all the way to the guitar, or sorry, the fuzz, and then just turn up the high pass filter a bit. You also need a little sustain. So there's a lot you can do with this. I haven't really played around with it that much. If you have a pick, you can do lead lines. There's so much you can do. And then obviously the reverse, you could play around with maybe some reggae kind of bass, or some just some dub bass, or some low kind of bass with low pass filter. Right? So very good for playing that more reggae bass easily just by having a low pass filter. It's not exact, obviously, but the idea is you can control certain things. If you have your octave on and you want to just have the low end, right? You can have more of that low end and cut out some of even the low mids if you want to with this thing. So it's very, very handy, very, very good across the board. And I like to have it right after the octave pedal because it works the best in that scenario. And right before the envelope filter. That's right where I got it right now. So if I was to back up and show you, that's kind of the way it's hooked up, even though you can't see it. But yeah, that is it. Hopefully you got a lot out of that. And yeah, to be honest, this pedal is probably the best price for how versatile it is. I haven't seen a lot that are under $300 Canadian, which is why I kind of made this choice. And I haven't been disappointed. The only thing I had is that I did get a bad pedal at first. Sorry, Electro-Harmonix, but yeah, the first pedal kind of blew up the first time I plugged it in, and it was smoking, and there was a blown fuse. So the second one hasn't let me down yet, and it's been great. So just be wary of that. And yeah, besides that, that's it. So next time I'll talk about my envelope filter. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like. And take it easy.